With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben's dying words became Spider-Man's entire moral philosophy. Power requires responsibility. Abilities must serve others. Heroes protect those who can't protect themselves. It's a beautiful principle that Peter Parker violates constantly throughout his superhero career. Not because he's evil, but because absolute moral codes crumble when confronted with real-world complexity. Spider-Man's broken moral code isn't character flaw. It's proof that even the most principled heroes are still human. Breaking the no-kill rule. The night Gwen Stacy died, Spider-Man's most fundamental rule is that he doesn't kill. Ever. Heroes don't take lives, no matter how justified the execution might seem. Then the Green Goblin killed Gwen Stacy, and Spider-Man nearly broke that rule in the most visceral way possible. The sequence is crucial to understanding Peter's moral limits. Norman Osborn throws Gwen off the George Washington Bridge. Spider-Man catches her with webbing, but the sudden deceleration snaps her neck. The debate still rages whether the fall killed her or if Spider-Man's rescue attempt caused her death. But the emotional result is the same. Peter believes he failed to save her. His response is immediate, primal rage. He attacks the Green Goblin with intent to kill, beating him brutally while internal monologue reveals he wants Norman dead. The webbing he shoots becomes weapons, his punches aim to shatter bone, and for the first time in his career, Spider-Man fights without holding back. Norman dies when his Goblin glider impales him, but this happens because Peter dodges at the last second, allowing the glider to strike its master. Technically, Spider-Man didn't kill him. Functionally, Peter made a split-second choice to let Norman die, rather than save him. This moment established precedent. Spider-Man's no-kill rule has limits, and those limits involve people who kill those he loves. The moral code that seems absolute crumbles when personal loss becomes involved. The symbiote suit, embracing his shadow. The Black Suit saga reveals Spider-Man's most disturbing moral failure. When given power without consequences, he doesn't reject it. He revels in it. The Venom symbiote bonds with Peter, amplifying his aggression and removing inhibitions. But here's what's crucial. The symbiote doesn't create new desires. It amplifies existing ones. Every cruel action Peter takes while wearing it reveals impulses he normally suppresses. Symbiote. Peter enjoys the power, he's more aggressive in fights, humiliates criminals instead of just stopping them, and becomes vindictive toward anyone who wrongs him. The suit makes him stronger, faster, and more ruthless, and Peter loves it. The most revealing moment, when he realizes the suit is influencing him, his response isn't immediate rejection. He keeps wearing it. The power feels too good to give up, even as he recognizes it's corrupting him. When Peter finally tears the suit off in a church bell tower, it's not because of moral revelation, it's because the symbiote tried to permanently bond with him. He rejected it out of self-preservation, not principle. The excuse afterwards is always, the symbiote made me do it. But that's a lie, Peter tells himself. The symbiote showed what he'd do if consequences didn't exist. It revealed a Peter Parker who enjoys hurting people when given permission. With great power comes great responsibility became, with great power comes great temptation, which I'll indulge until it threatens my autonomy. The moral code Peter claims to follow was always restraining darker impulses, and the moment those restraints loosened, he embraced the shadow immediately, letting Uncle Ben's killer escape. The original sin, repeated. Before Uncle Ben died, Peter let a criminal escape because stopping him was inconvenient. That criminal killed Ben, creating the trauma that birthed Spider-Man. The tragedy is that Peter repeats this exact mistake throughout his entire career. Spider-Man 2 crystallizes this pattern. Peter's powers fail due to psychological stress, so he quits being Spider-Man entirely. During his retirement, crime in New York escalates. People die because Spider-Man decided personal issues mattered more than responsibility. His justification mirrors his original sin. I want to be Peter Parker now. He chooses personal happiness over the responsibility his powers demand, then acts surprised when that choice leads to casualties. The pattern extends beyond retirement. Peter routinely lets criminals escape when he's distracted by civilian problems. He abandons patrols for dates. He skips crime fighting for personal events. Every time he's making the same calculation that killed Uncle Ben. This particular responsibility can wait, because something I want matters more right now. With great power comes great responsibility actually means with great power comes responsibility when accepting it doesn't interfere with what I want. The moral code is flexible, bending whenever Peter needs it to justify prioritizing himself. The perpetual lie. deceiving everyone who trusts him. Spider-Man's secret identity requires systematic deception of everyone he claims to love. He promises Aunt May he's safe while bleeding from knife wounds. He tells MJ he'll be available while knowing patrol might keep him gone all night. He makes commitments to friends while canceling constantly to fight crime. These aren't white lies. They're foundational dishonesty that damages every relationship in his life. Peter's moral code says integrity matters, honesty is crucial, and truth is non-negotiable. Then he lies to everyone constantly about the most important part of his existence. No Way Home takes this to ultimate extremes. Peter's solution to his revealed identity isn't accepting consequences, it's asking Doctor Strange to magically erase everyone's memory. When the spell starts breaking the multiverse, threatening universal catastrophe, Peter doesn't stop it immediately. He tries to modify it mid-cast to save his college admissions, risking reality itself to maintain his lie. The moral code says responsibility means accepting consequences. Peter's actions say responsibility means using magic to escape consequences while endangering everyone. Breaking and entering as standard procedure. Spider-Man enters private property constantly without warrants, consent, or legal authority. He breaks into facilities, hacks systems, and conducts surveillance that would be unconstitutional for police. His justification: fighting crime justifies criminal methods. But this logic is identical to villain reasoning. If ends justify means, what separates Spider-Man from the people he fights? Both believe they're justified in breaking laws to achieve goals. The difference is only perspective. Homecoming shows this perfectly. Peter breaks into damage control facilities and conducts unauthorized investigations without questioning whether these actions violate the responsibility he claims to value. His moral code says respect for law matters. His actions say, laws apply to everyone except me because my intentions are good. Endangering civilians for personal desires. Spider-Man's villains target him specifically, meaning his presence endangers everyone around him. Responsible heroism would require isolating from civilian populations to protect them. Peter's response: but I want a normal life. He attends school full of teenagers while being hunted by supervillains. He works at civilian jobs, endangering co-workers. He dates civilians, making them targets for revenge. Homecoming demonstrates this perfectly. Peter brings his date to Homecoming despite knowing Vulture is hunting him. His desire for teenage romance put an entire gymnasium at risk. When Vulture discovers his identity at the dance, Peter acts surprised that his selfishness endangered others. Collaborating with killers while claiming moral superiority. Spider-Man teams up with heroes whose methods explicitly contradict his stated values, then claims moral high ground when villains use identical logic. He works with Wolverine, who kills regularly. He accepts Tony Stark's leadership despite Tony creating weapons of mass destruction and Ultron. When villains kill, Spider-Man calls them monsters. When allies kill, Spider-Man calls it complicated gray area. This selective moral application reveals his actual principle. Killing is wrong unless it's done by people on my side. The hypocrisy extends to violence generally. Spider-Man judges villains for using force to achieve goals while using force to achieve his. The difference isn't method, it's that he's decided his goals are righteous. The multiverse catastrophe. Selfishness at universal scale. No Way Home presents Spider-Man's most catastrophic moral failure, breaking the multiverse to avoid dealing with consequences. Peter's identity being revealed wasn't unjust. He was publicly accused of murder. The world deserving to know whether Spider-Man killed someone is reasonable. Peter's response should have been proving innocence and accepting accountability. Instead, magical memory erasure for everyone on Earth. The result? Multiversal tears. Alternate reality villains invading. People dying because Peter couldn't handle college rejection. Even after seeing the damage, Peter's solution isn't stopping. It's curing alternate universe villains before sending them back, potentially creating new timeline paradoxes. The pattern: privilege disguised as morality. Every moral violation shares the same justification. Rules don't apply to me because I'm the hero. He lies, but to protect people. He operates illegally, but to enforce justice. He endangers civilians, but he deserves normalcy. He breaks the multiverse, but he didn't want consequences. This is privilege disguised as morality. Peter's powers give him authority to decide which rules matter, who deserves protection, which laws can be ignored. Peter Parker has nearly killed in rage, embraced corruption when offered power without consequences, repeated the mistake that created Spider-Man, lied to everyone who trusts him, operated outside the law, endangered civilians for personal reasons, and broken the multiverse to avoid college rejection. Every violation seemed justified in the moment. Every compromise appeared necessary. That's how moral codes break, not through dramatic falls, but through accumulated exceptions that eventually consume the principle entirely. If this exploration of Spider-Man's ethics intrigued you, subscribe for more analysis of superhero morality. Let me know in the comments which violation bothers you most, because having great power doesn't come with great responsibility. It comes with great excuses for why responsibility doesn't apply right now. Spider-Man isn't the hero with the strongest moral code. He's the hero with the best PR about having one. The difference between him and the villains isn't moral superiority, it's that he tells the story, so his violations become tragic necessities while theirs become unforgivable sins. Uncle Ben said, "With great power comes great responsibility." Peter heard, "With great power comes great excuses." And maybe that's the most honest thing about Spider-Man. Even our most principled heroes are just people making excuses for behavior they'd condemn in anyone else.